What's up, YouTube? It's Carl, No Coast Fab. Today we're gonna build a custom steering wheel. So let me catch you up on what I've done, what it took to get here, and we'll go forward from there. So this is where I'm at with it right now. I saw a wheel like this and I tried to track it down, but I think the company went out of business. And I felt like it fit the truck, so I decided if I can't find one, I'll build one. So let's go for a walk. Let's go on an adventure. So this is where it started. I got all drawn up in here. To figure the dish, I was honestly lost. So I just added, I drew this in the center, busted it out, set it off the side. I extended those 1/2 inch and it actually worked out perfect for my dish. You see, it's just about right. So now I didn't want it just flat. So you saw I had some other parts drawn in there. This is those parts. So now I'm gonna clean these up and these will weld on front and back here. And that'll give me some depth to it, which still leaves this being flat. So let's go, let me set all this down. We'll go back over and I'll show you what I'm doing for the inserts. So the inserts, I had this 1/2 inch aluminum kicking around off of a swim deck I did for a powerboat. And it just so happens there's just enough room there to get those inserts out of. So I have 6 of them, one for the front, one for the back. So I'll hurry and burn those out and show you what we're gonna do after that. All right, maybe this will start making more sense now. So now I'm welding these pieces on. So one on the top, one on the bottom. That'll give me a good thickness. And then the aluminum pieces will shape. And one will sit there, one on the back side, and I'll shape those down to where they're hand-sized. Okay, I got them all tacked in. I got it burned in on both sides. So now I don't want this laminated look. So I'm gonna weave, I'll do a weave over the top, burn it all 3 together. And that should give me a little more of a convex, opposite of concave, convex. I think it's concave, convex. Shit, I don't know. Now I'm confusing myself. Anyway, I'm gonna do a weave over the top of this so that it's bubbly. When I round these corners off, it'll give it a little bit nicer grip. So now I'll go ahead and do that. We'll get these shaped. And then I think we're on to the inserts. So more welding, here we go. All right, you can kind of see what I mean now. Well, focus, maybe if I put my hand here. I don't know, maybe we're not gonna focus. You can see in the blur that we started that arc. We got it all the way across. So these aren't the prettiest. This is more for build than anything else, so I wasn't really worried about being pretty. So we'll do this all the way around, and then we'll start shaping this to give it a nice round appearance. and then we'll take a Dremel and go on the inside here and clean those up. Man, that thing is just smoking hot. Anyway, we'll take a Dremel, we'll clean up those insides, round off those corners, and eventually, with a lot of handwork and a lot of time, that's gonna look really good. So I'm gonna keep on keeping on, get the other two done, and I'll probably do the first round of shaping on it. And then I'll bring you back when we get to this disaster. So I got stuff to do. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I got everything welded up. You can see I'll probably do more welding in there so I can smooth it out so it's not smooth. Kind of like I did on the back. I still have a couple little spots to weld and fill. Did the first round of shaping. You see we're starting to get that nice arc to it now. We got that all the way around. So all I did was a flap disc. Just threw it in the vise carefully with a flap disc just to kind of rough in that shape. From there, I'll probably go, like after all this is taken care of and I get to our second round of shaping just to make it more refined, I'll probably switch off to a Dremel and like little stones or little like flat disc, the barrel sanders, until that gets all nice. And I'll just work my way through the grids, probably down to, I'll probably take it to like a 120. So since that, I have also got these guys roughed in. Man, my plasma table just hated this stuff. It was, I'd have been better off to cut this with a damn jigsaw. So I've been fitting these to get those to where they fit in there. Nice. There's a little tiny gap there. Not bad. But anyway, here's my top, wheel side, bottom, wheel side. So now we need to attach this. So I've thought about this a couple different ways. I have a buddy that's a knife maker. I could go get some pins and we could pin these together with some epoxy, and those would never move, but I think I'm gonna get this powder coated. So these need to be removable because I'm gonna leave those natural. So I'm gonna use, grab this real quick, just some machine screws. I don't think that that's gonna look bad. Probably when I get the finished ones, I'll get like a brass with like a socket, or not a socket, an Allen head. I think that'll look good. I'll just do 2 on each one. And that way I can bolt them on, I can get them shaped, I can get them right, and I can unbolt them, have this powder coated. When it gets back, I'll probably throw a little epoxy in there, bolt it back together, and it'll be a done deal. So that brings us to our holes. I didn't trust my table enough to pop accurate holes, so I'm gonna grab a piece of paper. I traced this guy out. And now I'll lay out on this little piece so that I can transfer it to every other piece so that everything's good. So I think what I'll do now is I want to do finger wells on the back side here, which maybe this is a mistake. Maybe I don't have the right equipment for this, but we're going to go for it anyways. I'll lay out my finger wells on this, and that way I can put these where I want them in the finger well, and they don't just land in some random spot. You know, I can put them where there's going to be the most meat. So on the peak of that finger well. I thought about just drilling these part way through and then using a bottoming tap, and that way you don't see it on the back side. And then I decided, who cares? It's the back of the steering wheel. Who's going to see the back, right? I'd rather pop that all the way through, have good threads, and not have to worry about it. So if you're going to do this, do what you want, but this is just me trying not to overthink this because I've already got a lot of time in this. So now I'm going to lay this out, and I'll get all these drilled. I'll tap the bottoms, and then I'll go back through and I'll oversize the holes on the top and the wheel so that we can bolt it together, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I got all these drilled and tapped. Just, there's like an 832. So what I did is I laid this out with my finger wells. I picked where I was gonna have the most meat. I threw it on my tops, center punched it where I wanted it, and then I clamped these together. I drilled one side all the way through both, pulled it back apart, tapped that, drilled that, bolted it together to do the other side, and that way they'd all be just right. And then I just clamped the face on and drilled through the wheel in the position that they're supposed to be in. So here's where we're at now. I need to nip those off the back. So I'll get that guy bolted on, and then from there, where'd I put it? We're just gonna use a wood router and router bits. So this is just I don't know the technical name of it, but it's gonna make everything flush. So it'll run, oh, get up here. It'll run right down on the steel, and it'll take this aluminum dead flush. So I'll run it around the outsides, and that'll finish, give us a nice machine finish on the inside and the outside of the wheel. After that, this is just a 1/2 inch roundover bit. I'll run it around all the way, and that'll get us to a nice circular shape all the way around. It'll be a little oval, not quite round, but we'll set our corners with that. And then I got this guy. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. I'm gonna try it. But this is a cove bit, I think. Cove bit, cat bit, I can't remember. But I'm gonna try and run this guy through on the back side for the finger wells. So that's what I'll do next. And then we have this big lip here. So I'm gonna do all that before I deal with this. So once all that's in and I'm happy, then I'll probably spray these with a little bit of Dicam, and I'll scribe a line here and come out to about there. That was, I had a little mishap. I punched it in the wrong spot. That's why those are circled now, so I didn't screw up again. But I'll probably do a bevel from there out to about there, just to give it a nice transition between that and this. Maybe, I don't know, my plan might change. I'm sure by the end of the video, we're just doing this by the seat of our pants, and by the end of the video, I'll have about a dozen different ways to do this. It'll all be better, but for now, this is the best I've got. So we'll bevel this after everything else is done, because we want to keep as much of a flat surface as we can to run that router on, just to help keep it from wobbling and wandering around. If you have a router table, that's what you really want to use, but I don't got one, so this is what we're doing. So I'm gonna bolt that guy on, figure out how to fix this thing a little bit more properly, and we'll start running a router around it. Okay, here's the first round of routing. So went through inside, outside, squared up the edges. And I took that round over a bit. And I'll just bring you in close. We got a pretty decent shape. So this got a little wobbly right here. That was me, I wobbled. You can see the mess we made just from that. So the router won't work on the back side because of these. So now I'll unbolt these, flip them over so the back's on the front, and I'll do this same thing again. My initial thoughts, find a router table. Does this work? Yes. Is it doing what I want? Yes. Is it safe? I mean, I would say no, but we ain't got time for that. We're just going to keep on keeping on. So I'm going to flip these. I'll do the back side. And I think I'm going to have to figure out some sort of jig for the finger wells. So let me get these flipped over. I'm going to get the back side caught up. And we'll do the finger wells after that once I figure out some haphazard, absolutely not safe method for that. Okay, so I wasn't able to flip those over because my holes are off just a tiny bit, and 1 only fits in 1, 2 only fits in 2, 3 only fits in 3, so we're not quite as accurate as I was hoping. Like, it's super close, but I'm not gonna open it up and make it more gappy. So I cut this little guy out to mount him onto route. So you can see I went through, did the same thing, squared off the edge, did the round over. I have my knuckles or my finger reliefs laid out here. And I was gonna get fancy and build a jig and try and do this some other way before I decided, screw it. I'm just gonna go for it. So I did this one. I just freehanded this, which I would not suggest at all because that was super, super sketchy. So if you're gonna do this, find a better way, or roll the dice on losing a finger. But you can see, there's our front side, there's our back side. So I'm gonna buzz these out now. And then for those, I just used these Harbor Freight drum looking things. And they actually worked pretty good. So I'm gonna get these finger wells done, and then we'll grab the sander, some sandpaper, start dressing these out, and we'll reassemble everything and go to beveling those ends. So let me get this knocked out, get everything bolted back together, and we'll come back. All right, guys, we're finally to the end. I don't have 120, so it's just down to 80. Paint job sucks, but I just sprayed a little black spray paint on it, so you could kind of see what it's going to look like when it's done. Got the brass hardware in. Oh, still sticky. You can see this is what we ended up with. So I still need to get, I'm gonna have to get some 120 so that I can finish out everything. Hit it with 120, 220. However far I decide to take this, this guy, I'll probably just use this spray paint as a guide coat, sand it a few times until it's all sweet. You can see there's, well, there's some grinder marks in there that I gotta sand out. So, but I think it's gonna be a pretty sharp wheel. So If you know who makes this originally, I searched for this wheel online. I couldn't find it anywhere. I think it was Death Wrench. I want to say they went out of business because I was pretty diligent. I looked for quite a few days and couldn't find it. His had parachute cable here. A few other differences, but I don't want to rip anybody off. If anybody knows who makes this wheel or if it's available anywhere, let me know in the comments down below, and I will put a link in the description so you can buy this instead of going through the stupid amount of work that we just did to end up with this. Now, as far as a horn button, that's pretty easy. I want to say it was like 40 bucks on Amazon. You can get a billet horn button to finish it off. So I'm sure you guys will see it when it's all done and in the truck. Horn button, polished, whatever I decide to do. If you're looking for a lightweight option, this is not it. I'm going to tell you, this wheel is heavy. I'm going to guess that it's probably 12 to 15 pounds. I mean, this thing's a chunk, man. So, I mean, it feels quality when you're holding it, but if you're doing race car stuff, this isn't what you want. So, anything else? I think that's it. So for this time, it's Carl, No Coast Fab. We're gonna take a break on this truck because I'm waiting on parts. I have the Falcon back in the shop, so the next video will be on that one. So if you like this video, like, subscribe, click the bell, do the thing, whatever. You guys all know this better than me. And until next time, peace.